Okay. Hello. Hi. How is everybody doing? Happy 2026. Um, we made it, okay? Because ooh, what was 2025? Like girl, you did a little bit too much. You came in a little bit too hot. But nevertheless, we are here. Welcome to the women's room. That is the craziest thing to say. My name is Elle, right? For those of you who don't know, it's just Elle, like the letter ELLE. Okay. And don't piss me off, right? Because do y'all be saying Ellie magazine? No. Okay, good job. So it's just Elle, like the letter. And we are live from the office. Anytime you see my booski wooski, she doesn't have an A. This little heifer, anytime you see this heifer right here behind you, okay, just know that we are in the office and we getting ready to run our mouth. Right, like yip yapper is getting ready to happen. For those of you who don't know, my name is Elle. Okay, some of you know me on the internet as Brief by Elle. If you've been here for a really, really long time, you know me as Housewives and Chit Chat. That is where it all started. Right, I used to manage content creators. I used to manage the content and the output. And one day I said, I'm done. I want to run away. I disabled Instagram. I disabled Facebook. I said, let me go over here and see what these people on TikTok is talking about. I don't want to be doing no dancing, but let me see what they're talking about. At the time, Big Brother 23 was airing. It was the cookout season. Okay. I'm watching the cookout. I have thoughts about that. I think I make 2 posts about the cookout and I make one about Erica Jane. If you are a housewife watcher, we are at that reunion. Erica Jane in the pink dress. The news about Tom Girardi has just broken. She's separated from Tom Girardi. And I stitch Giorgio says on TikTok, Giorgio Armani, I believe on Instagram. I stitch his video. I have not even 4 followers, girl. I think I have one. And I don't even know who it is. It might be a bot. Um, I get in the shower. I get out the shower. I have over 1,000 followers. The video was at like 23,000 views. And honestly, the rest is history. Even at that time, my name wasn't Housewives and Chit Chat on TikTok. It was something completely different. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I see y'all here in the chat. Listen, this is like an interactive thing. If you were part of the replay crew, then you just get to, see and listen to the episode and have the feedback. You don't get to be part of the live conversation, and that is okay. That is okay, right? We thank you just the same because y'all could be anywhere here on the internet, but you're here and you're chatting with me. That is very much appreciated, right? So, boom. I instantly and I don't even know what go viral is anymore, but I do know at this point of content creation, we weren't even called content creators, they were still influencers. But I get in the shower, I have less than 4 followers. I get out, I have over 1,000, and people want to hear my thoughts on the Real Housewives. So we start doing that. And Brands by Bravo, like I'm deep in the niche Bravo bag at this point. Brands by Bravo is another popular Bravo page. She reposts me on TikTok, goes to tag me on Instagram. She can't find me because I told y'all I deactivated my Instagram. I was running away from the people child. She sends me a DM and she was like, girl, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but it's people over here on Instagram that care about the Bravo of it all, and you needs to be over there talking to them. Reactivate the Facebook page, do the things. The rest is history. Then you know me from the viral how to kidnap or how to kidnap. I don't even know the name of my own video. Kidnapping a Bravo fan. That video I post on the way to. I'm a mother. I homeschool. I got a husband. Okay, real housewife stuff happening over here. And I get in the car. I'm headed to a birthday party. I get in the car. The video was taking forever, right? To post. I'm a black girl. We got to stop and get a card and sign it before we get to the party. The video takes, I swear to God, like 40 minutes to upload. It uploads. I'm in the party. I'm doing the mom thing. Don't even think about it. Why I get out and the video got over 100,000 views. Girl, it. Bravo was in my DMs the next day. Hey, can we repost this? Okay. Thus making me the very first female content creator of color to ever be reposted on Bravo's platform. Again, this is at the time of the internet changing. We aren't content creators yet. We're still influencers. Okay. So I was the very first one. That was me. That leads to all of the podcasts, all of the things, which brings us here to today. I think 2023 was my year of, I said I was just going to follow the yellow brick road. I didn't know what this content creation journey was because I didn't start off trying to be one. So I said, I'm just going to say yes to the podcast, to the invitations, to the things that led to Bravo commercials. Again, that I don't even know what's happening. I'm at home putting the baby to bed and they is DMing me like, girl, you are on a Bravo commercial. But all of those things, in the words of Fantasia, were necessary to get us here to today, right? And when I say today, I mean, and I'm a very much a, we are all human, right? We are all people. We put on our pants one leg at a time. Ain't nobody better than the next person. Some of us just have a few more followers in the box, and yay for you. Okay, whatever, right? But to get to the point where I can literally DM people who I admire in this internet space and say, hey, can you come do my show? And they respond immediately. That is not a small feat, right? Like that is something I had to say yes. I had to build those blocks to get there, to be able to just knock on the door and have it be answered. And my God, one today, we thank you that the door was answered. I don't know who else could have done this very first episode with me. And let me be clear, all episodes won't have a guest. Sometimes you'll just listen to me yet, right? But when I started, this was by accident. I didn't know content creators were a thing. So getting thrown into it and then seeing the tides change and just having a branding and marketing brain for it, I said, okay, I got to get up out of this Bravo niche. I've got to expand. And when I expanded into the pop culture genre of it all, I was very stuck because I'm a grown woman, Beyonce voice. I didn't want to be talking about the Bluetooths and the croissants of it all. And I didn't necessarily know how to navigate that space as a grown woman talking about grown women, pop culture, news, issues, things of that nature. One person that I saw that did this and did this very, very well was the Dominique Morgan. I think every single day, and I said this on my Instagram stories, she gives us a master class in being a grown woman on the internet, right? She does a very good job of teetering that line. Like, listen, I'm in a mess. But I'm auntie, and I'm going to tell you something, because again, when I started here on the internet, that auntie trope still meant washed. It wasn't a term of endearment yet, right? Like, so there again is a point of contention on how you want to show up on the internet. And that don't have to be nobody else's truth. I'm just telling mine. For me, there was, okay? Because again, auntie meant wash. I don't want to appear like the aunties, but also I don't know nothing about them 20-year-olds and what they got going on. So with that being said, when I think about a woman creating space on the internet, when I think about a woman making room for the culture, when I think about a woman of the culture, when I think about the blueprint for content creation, for restarting your life, for knowing that there's no end until it ends. It ain't over until the fat lady saying, until they put you up in that casket and they carrying you up out of here. You have a day to make that dash in between the sunrise and the sunset mean something. And in my opinion, and this show will be populated with women and people. Sometimes we got to let the boys in the women's room. I don't know. Something about equality, and they got to be let in, and we have to hear their truths, and we got to listen to what they talk about. But when I think about a woman just taking up space and then sending the elevator back down, I think about the one, the only Dominique Morgan. Woo!
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
That was a stern introduction, sister. My God.
Just a little bit.
You chewed that. You chewed that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And I meant every word, like truly. First of all, just not even the potting of it all. Thank you. Because it was very getting up out of that Bravo niche and then coming to the internet. And Dominique, you be on the internet, baby. That ain't
Baby.
ain't no niche to it, baby.
My
You just be
God.
on that thing. And that imposter syndrome set in, right? Like knowing who you are in this niche and then moving over and I'm always a somebody, but being a nobody in that space, right? Like having to reintroduce and reacclimate yourself to whatever that Rome is, you have to turn and say, well, okay, well, what are the people in Rome doing?
Yeah.
And a Roman you were.
Well, I think it's also real that it's cool to be a nobody in a new space, because if you're nobody, people don't expect a lot of you, and that's when you have the space to learn. Learning under pressure and learning with just kind of the room to try stuff and see what fails, and nobody's judging you, or nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like when you worked out the kinks, because like I followed you for a long time, and I don't have any concept of there. You're right. I don't have any concept of like there being a shift from one topic to another. But I had the privilege of knowing from my like physical like career that if you let people make you one thing, it's a trick bag.
That's
And
what
on
you
the
are.
social media, right? And on the social media thing, what I love most about not being in a niche, yeah, like it's effective as a marketing tool, but it means that I get to learn about everything. It means that I'm learning about, oh, these streamers that my nephews are talking about. Let me see what this foolishness is about. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, Brene, if I wouldn't have been on TikTok, I wouldn't have had any comprehension of Brene and Tim. And I think that
True.
is right. I think that is like an Elizabethan story of our times. Like, respectfully, like if I
Yes.
was like teaching in the classroom, there would be a whole semester on the relationships, the moments in that journey. And so, yes, social media is fun, and yes, it's, the mess is the mess, but it's mess in the church house. We don't have Pastor Brian on the list of things you sent, but there's mess everywhere. It's what you do with it's what you choose to make mess into. And so when you hit me up, I was like, absolute, because there are girls who will message you, and it's not about being better than anybody. For me, it's about, who do I want to hook myself to if something goes left? I try not to put myself in positions to have to answer for something, you know what I'm saying, that I didn't say, or you know what I'm saying, or whatever. And people don't recognize collaboration is hitching your trailer to somebody.
To
And
somebody's
so
wagon.
to somebody's wagon. And so based on just one, as a follow of your content, and two, I think it's just really dope to see our people expanding, because these apps and these platforms, who knows what these folks gonna do. And we all we got. So yes, thank you for having me, and I'm excited to get into the things. Yes.
Listen, on that Jamal Bryant, let me tell you why Jamal Bryant was not on the list. And we can add him whenever you say go, it's go. Okay.
I just feel like
I'm with it.
it's because Brandy, the millennial manager, honey, spent the weekend chewing them folks up. And I just feel like
let me say this. And I church girl to my core, through and through. Okay. Raised in it, know about it, be about it. Okay. But I threw that video up like, I need to, Christmas holiday been busy, and I seen it, and I knew nothing about the sheer dress. Hand to God, knew nothing about the sheer dress when I made the post about the Balenciaga. But I saw the Balenciaga, and it bothered me, because Jamal Bryant, you are the face. Like, I'm not even talking about the pastorhood of it all. You are the face of this boycott movement that is centered around DEI. And so if this thing is true, then why is this thing not true? Like, that just felt very linear. I didn't feel like I switched, no lines, no nothing. The goo of it all, are there other stylists that specifically deal in the Christian realm? For sure. The Google of it all was the internet of it all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this just a little fun. It's going to make the people mad. The people are already mad at Erica and all of them. That was just a layup. Posted it, went on my life. I came back. I said, not me having to fight for my own life in my comments.
Those be the videos, the ones you post and you close your phone, they'll gag you.
Caught me quick. I said, wasn't scared, and I stood 10 toes on it. I don't in real life or on the internet, I don't say nothing that I won't repeat, but I felt the same way. This is a brand that has had a history of being in support of not protecting kids.
Mm-hmm,
Right?
mm-hmm,
This is a
mm-hmm.
brand that has a history of discriminating against people who look like us. And when we talk about boycotting, the whole idea of boycotting is that the black dollar is powerful. That's why we're withholding it, not just because, oh, we have money and we're not going to spend it with you. We are cognizant of how powerful the black dollar is.
Right.
Again.
But the thing about this boycott, though, is that it wasn't an intersectional approach to dismantling the way that these organizations and these corporations manipulate and extract from the Black community from a capitalist perspective. Forgive me for putting on my activist hat very quickly.
No.
And I said that a little bit, and I kind of had made a Instagram post about it, and I'd be having to be careful because my kind of not only fan base, but like people that I mess with, it can go far, right? Mama Tina can repost something in the chat. And so I will end up not only being able to make commentary, the person will want to directly address me.
Yes.
And so when it comes to Black folks, I really do my best, even if it's a critique, to like, okay, hey. And so with Tamika associated with it, a Black woman that I respect, that I've worked with before, Tamika D. Mallory, who is a part of Zora Mondami's group of folks bringing him transition team. I just made the post where like Target isn't the apex of this. Like you're gonna have to look at the work that I remember when I took over Black and Pink and we were looking for a bank. It took us like 6 months to find a bank that wasn't associated with some sort of system, because everything is intertwined. All of these systems are intrinsic to each other. That's how the foundation is held together. And so I divested from the idea of like it making sense once I kind of got pushed back from that initial video. And I was like, okay, they want to bring Target to their knees. Cool.
Yes.
In regards to the dress, Miss Mamas, there's two parts to me. One, there's the traditional expectations and the traditions of the church. And then there's people who need to just acknowledge that Pastor Bryant loves a baddie, and that Pastor Bryant and Atlanta is a different world, whether people want to acknowledge that or not. And last but not least, his congregation loves who he is, and his congregation loves who he loves. So, right, like, because if they didn't, they would not be a part of his flock. And I think that people, because my thoughts about Pastor Brian changed. He spent all that time talking about homosexuality and the trans folks and stuff. And then he came to the Vision Cathedral event. He's been there 2 years in a row. The first year he made that apology to the queer community. I don't know if you remember that. And I didn't go that year because I was like, child, I'm not coming there to hear that.
Yeah,
I'm not. And then last year he came back, and I'm just like, okay, people can evolve and change. And I think that the grace is, as Black folks, we go through so much pain and so much trauma, and a lot of it is rooted in shifting of traditions for us, that a lot of us, no matter how what's the word I want to use, no matter how open to things we are, some of the most left-leaning Black folks love the stern tradition of the church, even if that tradition feels a bit oppressive to them, because it's something that we know.
That's how Mama did it.
Hello, it's a part of our epistemology. It's a tradition, as people who are told on this land that, you know what I'm saying, like how our culture was robbed, like how they extract from us, like oppression, all those things. It's like, this is a part of who I am. It's not perfect, but this is me. At the same time, and then I'm 44. I'm about to be 44. I wouldn't wear that dress, and I'd be doing whole stuff. I
said the same thing.
And a lot of people hate my commentary because I'd be like, yes, but I'm just like, I see all sides, and that's why when I'm too much Switzerland, I keep my mouth shut, and I'll comment on other stuff because that's really how I feel. I'm like, she a baddie. Her man know her. She a baddie. His congregation know she like baddies. She looked good. And I would be like, oh no, we could have capped the sleeves. We could have edited that because I don't want to hear the mess. So it's like, it's all those things. But at the end of the day, if people want a first lady who's in a Donna Karen wrap dress, they need to go to another congregation, no shade. And you know that Jamal Bryant love a light-skinned baddie.
That's it. And first of all, this is New Birth. on top of Atlanta
Come on,
being its
sister.
own world, it is New Birth.
It is
And
New
if
Birth.
you even understood the history of New Birth,
You got Judy and the Brat and all them in the audience. Like, and I'm not saying to be funny. I'm saying like this is
it's a reality TV church.
it's a celebrity, it's a reality TV church. It's a celebrity church, and celebrity in Atlanta, whether people enjoy like it or not, is inherently queer,
Mm-hmm.
inherently Black,
Mm-hmm.
and very very pushing the envelope. Like that's how you maintain your celebrity in Atlanta, because you're walking down the street and somebody's in, like you said, they're in full Balenciaga off the runway from 6 months ago, catching the buzz.
Yep. But
That's a
that's how you're identified in Atlanta. Like when you go out in Atlanta or you know somebody, it's like you the one who you know the girl who this the girl. It's all about like
very
a
that.
branding in
Hmm.
Atlanta, and that is
Hmm.
how you are identified. It's not Dominique. No, it's you know the one who she always has
Imagine.
her nails
Uh-huh.
done, or this person drives that. You know such
Hmm.
and such. They
Hmm.
stay in Balenciaga. It becomes its own branding, and they don't know you by name. Atlanta is also a very know you by your Instagram handle as place as well,
Very much so.
even in the church.
Will not know your government. Very that. Very that. Very that.
Even in the church. And I say that like some of my followers know, like I'm a Southside girl. Okay. The diploma comes from Henry County, Georgia.
Okay.
Like, down south. Okay. I have been in the mega churches. Ella English's sister, Daisy English, used to be the head of praise and worship at my church. I
Okay.
come from a very celebrity mega church like background. It's just a different world. That
Hmm.
being said, as much as the dress gagged me, again, knew nothing about it, had no opinion. Boom. Okay, cool. Like that was a reach. But also, this man used to date Malaysia. Like, what? Okay. His response in the pulpit of
Yes.
being like, and she wasn't naked under there, it was flesh tone. But some of y'all don't know that because you ain't never been nowhere or had nothing in your life.
And that's a see Atlanta. The problem is they around the gates too much because everything feels like a read. That was not a rebuke. That was a read.
I said,
That's it.
we gonna have to get you and Lavender. And what's Lavender husband? I don't never remember his name. Pastor cheats on Facebook. Who said it? Um,
Boots.
they need a reality show because that was something different. Before we continue to get into the
Yes.
mess of it all, two things. I want to tell you, I said it in a video, but I want to tell you personally, the way that you held that line for T.S. Madison when that Tyler Perry lawsuit dropped should be studied in somebody's college course. The way that you looked at that camera and said, I'll touch on a lot, I'll share my opinion on a lot, but I'm not going to do it for your satisfaction when I know what it can do to the people that I know in real life.
That is Madison and our relationship is very, very authentic and organic. We spent years getting to know each other. I don't if people follow Madison or engage with Madison. When Miss Eve passed away, her first friendship after that was Kaya. And then after that stuff happened with Kaya, you didn't see Madison with anybody in regards to like, we just chilling. It's Christmas Day. We're at your house. If people really look. And so we met summer of 2022. We're both the Grand Marshal. Like we're two of five Grand Marshals for the first New York Pride after the pandemic.
Okay.
Huge pride. Punky from Saturday Night Live. It was crazy. They had us in armored trucks because
I do
Bill
remember
Maher
it being a zoo.
we were in armored trucks. Bill Maher had us on as a segment because like gay men were being erased because like 4 of the Grand Marshals were trans. It was bulletproof. It was crazy. And I literally was like, oh, bitch, come over and get a plate. I'm sorry. I'm not going to cuss.
Oh
I
no,
didn't mean
please.
all right,
I know what
girl, come on,
the
come and
kids
get a
should be back
plate.
in school.
Like come get a plate. Like just, oh, you good? Oh, Cozy just hit. There's flowers outside your door. Like I don't need. We go to eat. Oh, girl, I pull out my like. Just
Mm-hmm.
I really care about you, and so with the platform that I have built and continue to build, I want to be real with people. And I feel like creators come on here and they won't say something and then they'll ignore why they're not saying nothing. No, baby, I'm letting you know that I'm not going to talk about this in the way you want me to, because they just asked for 7 seasons of Beauty in Black, and currently
And
T.S.
I'm gonna
Madison,
watch them all.
right?
We
And
need not do anything to get in the way.
we need not play. And outside of P Valley, which that's been in the can. Y'all know that Monroe is one of my best friends. Tony Bryce is on there playing Heaven. She's one of my good sisters. And even Nico is a friend of mine. That's been shot. It's been in the can. We don't know when that's coming out. So with Beauty in Black, Madison's one of the only Black trans women on a mainstream platform on a show. Y'all want me to come on here and talk shit about the man who's hiring her? So y'all can just repost it and be like, "Oh, T.S. Madison's friend said this and this and this about Tyler Perry."
All it would be.
That's all these hoes. That's all these hoes want me to do. And it's like, I have opinions. If you want to talk about my personal opinion and you have personal access to me, I would love to discuss that. But it's the same thing about the Nicki thing. I talked in the way that I talked. From my perspective, people want me to be like, well, why isn't Madison saying anything? You know what I'm saying? Because I know we got Nicki on the list. Madison finally said something a couple of days ago, and these barbs been attacking her for days. And I'm like, y'all want people to just say something. And the importance of having a platform is knowing what your word does.
Louder, because a lot of these content creators that be on the internet for 45 hours a day don't have marketing. They don't have PR. They don't know when to shut up. And that is always an option.
Or they don't think that they need any of those things you just shared until they got 1 million followers. 10,000 people is a lot of people. 10,000 people is and I think when I talk about in real life situations, I've been on the main stage at Essence. I've been on a stadium too. So when you see 10,000 people, when you see 100 people in front of you, friend, you're like, oh, wow. So it just makes you cognizant when you put up a video and there's 100,000 people the next morning who have viewed it.
You'd be like, because if 100,000 people were standing in front of me.
And so what did you say? And will you stand on it? And at this point, I'm not willing to say anything that if Mr. Perry calls me, which he has before, I don't want to get into that. Because respectfully, we're running the whole program. So that same check he sent to Marvin Winans, we would like that for the starter house. And if you don't comprehend that sometimes I got to flip a coin from some spaces to house our people, well, girl, God bless you. Y'all know what these people is out here doing, and y'all still gonna watch Madea goes to space. So shut up. Shit.
I want to take.
I would see that. I would see that. No shade. I would kind of.
Could you imagine Madea up in space?
What? I low key read the type of shit, and like a crossover with like Alien or something like that. Like, I feel like, let me stop before this.
Did you watch Avenue 5 when it came out?
What is that?
Oh my God. Avenue 5 was on HBO Max with the guy who plays the doctor in House. Remember that old show? Okay.
Yes.
He's the main character. And basically they have sent people to space like you would go on a cruise. So they was just on a little X amount of day cruise around the space, and they were supposed to come back. Something happened, knocked them off their course. They're going to be up there for 2 years.
My God, on today.
Yes, but they don't have the food.
So Gilligan's Island, but in space.
Absolutely. Okay. I want that crossover. Put Madea in them.
That's all I'm saying. Give us shenanigans.
That's
Give us
it.
foolishness. Yeah.
I want to take a minute though. The women's room to me is an embodiment of a safe space. That's where you go in, you girl fix your hair. Oh no, you need some lip gloss. Hey friend, hold on, you got something on your dress on top of the kiki kaka. But it is a very serious, safe space moment, or at least it should be. And if it's not for y'all, please go find a different women's room. I want to take a minute and give the people a 5-minute, I don't even know if you could put it in a 5-minute breakdown on who you are, because when I watch your content in the tinge of nuance and all of this, it's like you've lived 50 million different lives, and then you say I'm 44, and I'm like, that's a lot of living. Include the starter house, give the people all of the things.
Yeah, Dominique Morgan. I live in Atlanta. I've lived in Atlanta for the last 3 years, but I am born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska, and that matters to me. My hometown. I think growing up in the Midwest gives you a bit of a different perspective, and growing up in the heartland and growing up in Omaha, a lot of folks be like, Black folks from Omaha. Omaha is the birthplace of Malcolm X.
Mm-hmm.
It's the hometown of Gabrielle Union.
Gabrielle Union,
It's
Jasmine
yeah,
Brand.
it's a cultural place, but it's also a space of huge wealth. Um, and I born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska, and went into the system as a young person, which really impacted not at this point yes, it impacted my life, but it impacted the way that I think and the way that I see the world. I went to Georgetown, went to Stanford, undergrad in public health, but I always say, like, I got a PhD first on people, being a young person in the system, and like just learning and watching and pushing myself, being at the spades table, like catching the way that I can analyze situations and people comes from having to build a bandwidth of recognizing just energy or just a facial expression. Because in incarceration, you sometimes have a second
Oh, it could be
to
that
know,
quick.
really. And so you have to kind of be aware and be cognizant. And I'm really grateful through, again, education. I think that gave me these weapons and superpowers, but therapy.
So you went to school first and then went into the
No,
system,
so
or
no, I went
system
to
then
I
school?
went to prison. I was 18 when I went to jail. I was turning 19 before they sent me to the into the actual structural prison system.
Mm,
And so I left prison with an associate's degree in culinary management. Like,
okay.
that was like the one program they had. And I was like, I'm gonna run kitchens. And again, being in Nebraska, it's like you can still like be a shift manager at Subway and buy a house back home. The
Okay.
cost of living is very accessible, right? And so I was like, oh, sister, really, my dream was to one day get on a plane. I wanted a car that could work no matter the season, because it's blizzards and stuff
Mhm.
back home. And I wanted to I didn't want to live paycheck to paycheck. Literally, that was my dream that felt like I was going to have to push through to get it.
Mm.
And somebody asked me the other day, they were just like, how did I start dabbling? Mm, I went to a pride event, and somebody there was working and they were being paid. And I said, well, how'd you do this? They said they had a degree in public health. I went home that day and signed up for online classes
I know
with Southern
that's
New Hampshire
right.
University, because I was like, oh, I like this, but I need a coin,
Right.
because I'm using my degree, I'm catering and I'm doing this and I'm volunteering and all of this. I'm like, I would love to bring this together. And graduated my undergrad in May of 2016. I started off as a sex educator in the classroom, working in
Okay.
the clinic. I was a teacher. I've always said, when I kind of circle back to my later 50s, I would love to get back into the classroom, like with the young folks. I think young
Mm.
folks really, I know it's hard. We see the videos, but I think
We
young
also
folks,
need a college course. We need a Matthew Knowles
and
college
and
course.
and, and I feel that's going to come sooner. That's why I always say I want to circle back one day and be with the young folks and be like, hey, y'all, what y'all what we doing? Because
Mhm.
I that shaped me, working with those young people. And I think having a representation of queerness that doesn't cross the line. Y'all remember that video of that stud a couple of months ago in the classroom doing the most? I promise you, queer and trans teachers, like, we can be professional, like, so that was important, because I did my job, but also there's a generation of young people who saw me, and that was really impactful. And then I became a CEO out of nowhere. By accident, literally took over Black and Pink, and so I ran the largest prison abolitionist organization in the world.
And how do
And
you how does that happen by accident?
because they asked me to apply for the job, and when they asked me to apply, uh, the requirement was that I was going to need to move to Boston, because that's where the offices had been for about 13 years. And I didn't leave Omaha because I didn't like my city. I moved to Atlanta because I was like, you know what? I had turned 40 in March, and I framed my 40th birthday out after the Legends Ball. So we had like 4 different events each day, and I was like, I have too
Mm.
much privilege. I spent a life telling people to challenge themselves. I was like, I got to try something. I gotta try this. And so I was like, Atlanta, but I love where I'm from. And so I was like, I don't want to move to Boston. I was like, I'll join the board of directors. Well, child, I didn't read the bylaws clearly enough, because if the ED is not there, the president of the board has to become the new ED. And the person they hired lasted about 60 days. And I was like, I'll do it interim. And then I realized, I was like, one of my first calls were with the Elton John Foundation. And I was like, oh, I think I can handle this. Cool. Before then, I had been on like a plane maybe twice. And next thing you know, I'm flying across the country, and I was like, I can do this. And when I took over Black and Pink, my budget was like $225,000. When I left Black and Pink in June of 2022, my budget was $3.2 million. I had raised nearly $15 million over that 5 years. And I organically learned these pieces of fundraising, building front-facing programs. I transitioned in leadership. I'm the first global model that Apple has ever had. I launched their Pride Band in 2021. That was a huge point in my career that gave me, everybody's like, how did you get a blue check? It was like, unfortunately, most
Back
places.
when you had to earn them.
Like when you had to earn them, and it was like, I got a blue check because I partnered with Facebook and Meta, and they announced, things that I had done. And so that was the cadence of my career. And serving my people is huge for me. Music is huge. And a lot of people didn't realize that, because it's like, oh, Dominique's an activist. I've been touring for years. I'm like 4 albums in, a Christmas album. And that's really important to me. And I just randomly, like end of March, I had a TikTok for a while. Just like you said, I posted a TikTok video, closed my phone, and opened up, and it was like 20,000 views. And I was like, oh, well, I'll keep posting. Because I was like, because I wasn't, the beauty was, and I tell people this, if you don't do it for the love because you shouldn't get paid for it. I'm never saying that. Get your coin. But don't do it because you want to rush the process. Because I wasn't getting on TikTok I want to be on here so Essence will book me. I was already booked to be at Essence last summer. It was my second year. So like my real life was already, you know what I'm saying? Like we were already in the process of shooting a pilot.
You weren't coming to TikTok to get established.
Get established. So the beauty was I could get up in my bonnet and just say what I wanted to say. And there was no skin off my back if people didn't mess with it. And what happened is that TikTok gave me a new way to be authentically myself and share my voice. And TikTok gave me a new space where I didn't have to be anything but Dominique. I think in other places, Dominique is an activist. Dominique is this, Dominique is that. What I love about TikTok is that I get to be all the things that I care about. I can talk about comic books.
Right.
I can talk about soap operas. I can be that. And so my career is really, that's the representation. If I have to say my mission and vision statement of my career as Dominique Morgan, it's to show that we as human beings are limitless in the ways that we get to experience life. We're not limitless in our emotions. We're not limitless in our energy. We need to rest. But life is meant to be lived. And I live my life. Some days I'm literally in the office. I'm being a CEO of my company, Starks and Whitaker. I am on TikTok talking about Brene and Tim. I'm getting an inbox from Yolanda Adams, who's like, oh my God, I love your message. And I'm also,
that would put me under the chair, first of all.
If
that anointed voice took her fingers to type me and say, yes, I slain in the spirit.
There's been rare times where I've been like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't cuss so much, because I was like, ooh, the prophetess is following me. Maybe. And then she was on my
know my heart.
Right. And then she was on my friend Christian and Pamela. They have, they do great work around deconstructing Christianity. And she was on their show, and Christian was smoking weed on there. And I said, child, well, I'm gonna keep on cussing. Praise the Lord. But
I used to love her morning show. That's how Georgia I am. I used to love her morning show. I want to ask you this, because also like in real life, I'm in the local politics of it all. I help run comms and mayoral campaigns and all of the things, right? Because while those national elections are very important,
you want to ask me about Heavenly?
No, okay. I wasn't actually. But I do have a question. We could talk about that when the people leave. But I was in a meeting yesterday, and this gentleman with the organization was talking about his program to help keep the kids out of prison, right? Like we have
Mhm.
all of these about how you rehabilitate them when they come home and all of this, all of this, all of this. But we just have to be very real about the fact that the after school programs aren't cutting it, and that
Yeah.
they've cut the ones that are there in XYZ. You talk about all of this that you were able to do post incarceration.
Mhm.
What was that process of like coming home? The gentleman last year said or last night said that he came home, he did 10 years, and realized when he got out, like he knew he was going to be behind, but then realizing like I'm 10 years
Yeah.
behind, and then having to make that conscious effort to then do something different so that you don't repeat the cycle. What did coming home look like for you?
Mhm. I think I first really have to acknowledge the work that my parents did, because the truth was I was behind, but I was ahead before I went in because of how they raised me.
Okay.
So it kind of evened out, right? So I get out, I'm 27 years old. It's 2009.
10
I
years.
Yeah, nearly 10 years. And so it's like, I went to prison before Kelly Clarkson was even on American Idol. There was no cell phones were huge. You know what I'm saying? I get home and people are talking about texting, right? I miss Black Planet. I miss MySpace, and people are talking about Facebook, right? So like that is I mostly miss the two things that the world left me on was technology and honestly, music. And I always
I
bring up
could close this laptop on you right now because you better deliver a testimony on
it's
today.
just because I bring up media because so many people dismiss media, but I'm always like, I have no concept of the long t-shirt phase of rap. I only know Scrappy from Love and Hip Hop. I was not in the when y'all be like I will y'all was in y'all's out there in the club. I didn't lean rock with I wasn't there for that. So
Oh
I
my
don't have,
goodness.
and that's a cultural zeitgeist moment. I don't know how to
Yes.
swag. I don't know how to swag surf. Like I was not there for that. So as a person who now lives in Atlanta, it's so
We got to get you
interesting.
together, sis. We will
But I've
most
done that.
definitely.
Well, but I had my homegirls. I was like, I need y'all to make me a playlist.
Mm,
I need y'all to make a video because I realized it early on. So that was a thing. So when I got out, because I was advanced, I've always been an intelligent person. And then when I was locked up, girl, I was in a book. I was reading Entertainment Weekly. I would use my money to buy my subscription. I had O Magazine. Like I was into the things, right? If it was on media, I would try to capture it.
mm-hmm.
Coming home, it was so my parents raising me in a way that I think positioned me to be advanced. My father had passed away during my prison sentence. And so my mother was her being there for me when I got out. That was huge. But she passed away. I came home in February. She passed away in December. So but that time of stabilization, it was like she bought me this $500 car off of Facebook Marketplace, right? She helped me get an apartment, like she held me down, and I was a hustler, baby. Okay, at my first job, I was making tortillas by hand for $5.25 an hour, and I was walking to that place. It was like I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. So like a hustler and a hungry mentality for life.
Mm-hmm.
And then what elevated me was community. And I did that video on the homeless man who's like, because I'm homeless, I can't get no head and all that foolishness. He wants somebody to hunch on. He don't want community. Every
Right.
community changes your life
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because the same woman who hired me for my first role at Charles Drew Health Center, shout out to Charles Drew in Omaha, Nebraska, and Kenny McMorris and Smosky. She was the housing support person when I needed to put in paperwork to keep my lights on when I first got out because I needed I needed subsidies. She knew
Yeah.
me. She watched me that whole time, and I was her first hire to bring me in as a sex educator. She walked into HR and was like, whatever comes back on her record, like I know her. Like that changed my life because that gave me my first right on paper stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
you can just watch these moments, even my street being named. I'm the first I'm the first Black trans woman in history in the world to have a street named after her. And in
Wow.
Nebraska, right?
Of
Um,
all places, right?
of all places. But it's because Auntie Kathy put in an application. It's because I Be Black Girl and Ashley Spivey sponsored the application. You can look at how people continue to show up for me, even in the TikTok space. There are people who are reposting me. It's people who community matters. And so that's what
Mhm.
changed it. The conversation of rehabilitation for young people, I think it's harmful in a definition sense because I think rehabilitation gives the sense that something needs to be rehabbed. And we look at, I think we underestimate the vision and the way that young people kind of see things in pictures and so on and so forth, especially young Black boys. Many of them are neurodivergent in some way, shape, or form who are navigating these systems. And neurodivergence is not bad. I think people,
No.
when I say things like, oh my God, no, it's like, neurodivergence is a superpower. My ADHD allows me to be, when I have the supports, I can't be touched.
Yeah.
There are bitches who are finer than me. There are bitches who all these things, but ain't no bitch gonna outwork me. They can't.
At all.
And
Not at
it's
all.
because of like my whole self, right? And so with these young people, when we say rehabilitation, the first thing I see is a broke down house. I used a framework in conversation. My Georgetown program was focusing on youth in the system. We're not rehabbing, we're rehabbing society for them to change their eyes to when they to see it's just like you ever see an old house, but as soon as someone makes it a historical marker, all of a sudden it's
Beautiful.
right,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
This can't be touched. These broken bricks, this is from this year, this is important. Okay, well, this young person does this way. Let's change how we look at it,
Yeah.
not change the person. Let's help this young person refine it. Let's help this young person understand who they are. And that's what I think is really important. Community, addressing the mindset of community when it comes to the things we're seeing with young people. And last but not least, for Black kids, letting these young people just be kids.
Amen. Amen. They need to touch grass. But I did this video. This one teacher was talking about how the kids have apathy, right? Like they're just not moved by anything. They don't want to do the pep rallies. They don't want to do the things. And it's because and again, we were having this conversation in our meeting yesterday, we've overcorrected in a sense, right? Like we were mad that our elders were throwing us out of rooms and, oh, this is adult
Mhm.
conversation. So now we want to blur the spaces when the reality is this 10-year-old baby, while they need to have a concept of responsibility and reality, right? Like that's how you create the Simone's children of it all, Married to Medicine.
Mhm.
But
Uh-huh.
they need not have any concept of what it's like to, I gotta figure out how to pay this and rob Peter to pay Paul. Or even if it's not a rob Peter to pay Paul, there are adult situations in any class that you were in, any situation in life, and them kids need the opportunity to just worry about their homework and running around. What's going on a little video game, playing a little Toka Boca. I got an 11-year-old playing a little Toka Boca games
Yeah.
and a Nintendo Switch. That's it. That's all. I grew up in a space where my mom would say, your only job is going to school,
Mhm.
bringing home them grades. That's it. You don't
Mhm.
have nothing else to worry about.
A lot of these young people, I think a lot of these young people are also detached and they're ambivalent about things because they've experienced a lot of disappointment, and that's one way to prevent disappointment by not expecting anything. I think that we don't discuss enough what the pandemic did to a lot of young people, and the between the pandemic and additionally going to what you said, sis. It's like I know my parents experienced some hardships, but I didn't know everything. We're growing up in an age where respect, like it's cool. It's like the struggling parent who's like, I'm gonna go to TikTok and I'm gonna tell them how I didn't have the money to do this thing, this thing, this thing. But also your kids are watching that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think these young people, between the expectation of them being grown in action, but being a child when it comes to being able to say no or speak up for themselves,
Yes.
the kids have the idea I can speak up, but we also aren't training. When I was in the classroom and I also was in the clinic, and I used to sit with parents and say, you want your child to say no to having sex, but you've never let them say no to you. And not just say no to you just because, but you haven't trained them about the way to say no. about the
Mhm.
way to even challenge. You still make them hug the uncle who they don't like. There's a way to say everything, which builds your strength, right? We all see we're all on social
Absolutely.
media. We see so many, especially Black women who are like, I'm just finally getting to the point where I'm saying no, because and as a Black trans woman, I talk about this a lot. I wasn't raised not to say no. I wasn't raised to go with the flow. Even as a queer young person who was effeminate, I wasn't raised that way. And so to live in this body, it's like, oh, yes should be, oh, if you don't want to do the labor, are you really a woman? It's like, no, this is counterintuitive to what's healthy. And so these babies are seeing that. And so I would challenge folks to create as much space for these young people to be young people as we can, to inform them, but to not burden them.
Yeah.
We can inform them and not
Yeah.
burden them. And last but not least, especially for Black people, the world wants to adultify a Black child as
Yes,
soon
they
as they
do.
can. My God.
Yes, they do.
And I've been thinking about that young man in Atlanta, 15, who unalived the Uber driver. It's like he
I
engaged in
missed
a
that.
terrible behavior. 15 years old. It was few days ago. He caught the Uber ride late at night because everybody's like, why is this 15-year-old catching an Uber after midnight? Lets the
Right.
Uber
You
driver
see,
lets the Uber driver get him like home or close to home, shoots the man in the back of the head, puts the man out of his car, takes his car, and the child is found in a few hours. Even if that's not a well thought out crime. That's
at all.
that's a heinous crime committed by a child. And Fulton County is already like, well, we're gonna charge him as an adult. Now at 15, charging him as an adult, he'll be back out here at 40.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that's the question. Those are the questions when your initial thing was like, yo, how do we get to young people before they get into the system? It's like, even with how we're sentencing them, it's not to negate the life that was lost, but you're not going to give this child life. Right.
But that same thing happened with that teacher in Monroe County, Georgia, that the TikTok teacher who
Child.
she was on trial for having sexual acts with a student in the school. The student was not her particular student, but he was a child and he was a student at
Mm-hmm.
that school. But he was seen as an adult there, and because they didn't do a good job of making the jury and everybody fully understand, and the fact that even had to be done is its own issue. But to use the fact that he had texted his friend about it, to use that as some sort of justification
Because he
of
did
like,
young people shit.
right, because he acted like a child, because he was a child. Now you want to say, oh, well, that's means and motives. Like at what point? When are they babies? Trayvon was a threat with his Skittles and his Arizona tea. Like at what point are we going to acknowledge our Black babies? Because that's truly what it is. We don't have this problem.
I think one of the responsibilities we have as adults is to treat children like children, even if they don't see themselves as children anymore.
Amen.
And I think and again, for the parent who's like, Dominique, these kids wear me out, I talk about a grace quotient very often, and the importance of the village. And that's why I'm like, we throw too many Black folks away for us not to have enough Black folks to help each other out, because it leaves room for the mom and daddy to be exhausted. But you got to have an auntie. You got to have somebody that's like, hey, baby, I know you did this, but you still loved. We still see the possibility. I had that, but every time my parents was at their wits' end, and it was my aunties and uncles. And with that young boy, I'll never forget looking at him on stand, going to what you said, sis. I was like, he should have been sitting up there looking like Carlton Banks. And they put him up there like he was about to shoot a music video with T.I.
Mm-hmm.
And the eyes is everything. I think if that boy would have been light-skinned, if that boy would have been mixed, like there are things that go into that. But most importantly, the adultification of young people, in those instances, that young boy will be somebody who's going to give some woman hell.
No doubt about it.
Because he wasn't protected. People learn how to protect people by being protected. And I'm going to shut up at that point. Protection is a learned skill. And it's
Yes, it
something
is.
you learn best through experience. Amen. Amen.
Yes, it is. I hope y'all have gotten your fill of seriousness, because that's about all we're gonna be able to give you. We about to
Amen.
get into some of this mess. You since you said Dr. Heavenly, let's just start at the top with Married to Medicine. Are you caught up?
I'm peripheral with Married to Medicine. So my rule is, so you know how Wendy Williams used to be like, I can't be friends with these folks, so
Amen.
such. And my sister Jasmine Brancy the same way. I'm a bit
Yes.
different. I will find out what I need to find out, but if we know each other or we have engagement, like Dr. Heavenly, we've had conversations about her health platform in the state of Georgia, right? And we've had some conversations. And so
That's good to know.
I tap, yeah, because I was just like, okay, if you doing this, sister, what we doing, right?
I did a whole video segment, again, from my real life expertise of running comms and running campaigns, and some of the notes that I made in the video were taken. You know, the phone didn't ring, the emails didn't come back, and that's okay. Especially when it comes to community work, it truly is
Mm-hmm.
about the community. I'm Prince when it comes to that. You don't got to put my name on nothing.
Right.
But I had the same questions because we were getting very vague. Well, I did this for my family. What we gonna need, this is an open-ended sentence. We're gonna need at least 5 sentences to answer each question.
I need a 3-point plan. We need something to hold you accountable to. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's there. But I be tapping in when I need to recently. And you know, I had it in my queue to talk about these entitled ass children and this. I don't want to talk about nobody's husband. But the Negro is derelict in his duties because these children played. And then you have to be like, girl, how much of this is real? When she got up and started cussing at them, that was real. She's tired of them niggas.
She is
Let's be clear about that.
she is
Sister is
motherfucking
tired.
tired. Okay.
Yeah.
I just, first of all, I want my people to be free from the bar being Eurocentric standards. Like, that being the bar has to go away. I'm so tired. Well, these white folks, when we having any conversation, we ain't them, they ain't us. The culture is different. What we need is different. How our kids are seen in the world, we just talked about it, is different. How we need our kids to see the world is
Right.
different. So to compare is so annoying. Now, I will say that Cecil, in last night's episode, Cecil had a point, right? Like, at some point we have to come up off of the cycle. It can't be, oh, well, I struggle, so you have to struggle. Well, then I did the struggle, so then why is now the third generation struggling? But that comes with relinquishing the idea that struggling brings about responsibility. Responsibility can be taught without a struggle inside of it. You can learn to wash your clothes and be responsible for your laundry without having somebody have to make you travel 3 miles up the block with your laundry to a laundromat.
Yeah. I 100% concur with what you said. I believe that great access needs to be leveled out with great skill of stewardship. And what I saw in that segment, I haven't seen the conversation from yesterday, but I think where Cecil is kind of missing the mark is, I don't think that she wants them to struggle. She wants them, one, to appreciate her, and sister, it's too late to teach them kids to appreciate you. I love you. I love you down. The best you might be able to do is to get them the skill to appreciate whatever woman they end up with. And that one has the spirit of being with a white woman.
Don't he? It's all over him. God bless.
And the type of labor any woman will do with him, I would want it to be a white woman in the mighty name of Jesus. But I think that's the thing. It's like the want and the desire, but it's not the stewardship of like, yo, I have this great support. What am I going to do with it? You're spending this money. You're doing all of these things. You want this new car. It's not that these kids are asking to be housed. They want a penthouse. And I think that's the balance. It's like, you're not struggling, but you want to live my lifestyle, and I've worked for my lifestyle, right? And that's right.
I'm rich. You're not.
I'm not, but you're good. And also, I'm investing the money to make sure you can be whatever you want to be. You going to law school, brother? Okay, so you can. And then also, it concerns me okay, she ain't saying she ain't gonna help, but you're not even bringing back a negotiation. You about to go to law school. Where's your ability to litigate, young man? Where's your where's where's your psych classes coming in at? Hey, mom. Okay, well then, can we do 50%? Like it's the all or nothing. It's the dismissiveness of this Black woman in front of you saying, "I'm tired. I'm doing all this, and I can't even get you Negroes to pick up y'all's draws." And that is where I think Cecil needs to come in. I think he should be, the voice of reason in the house as the father, but it feels like his voice of reason approach is defending these kids when they don't need a defense. We need a facilitator, and he's not facilitating well.
He's not facilitating at all. On the Wendy Williams, I can't be friends and deliver it, right? I will say that I was chatting with Toya about last week's episode, because in the video I called her, I said she suffers from spoiled wife syndrome. And same, right? She was like, I'm not spoiled. And I said, okay, Toya. So I did tell her that I was going to elaborate, which is what I like about this podcast. I can elaborate on the kind of quick-witted things that I say. As a spoiled wife, I will say, Toya, I do stand on that. We spoil, and that's okay, right? Like, spoiled doesn't have to mean bratty. It just means spoiled, well taken care of. Yeah. But when it comes
Which is the premise of the show. The original premise is you to be a spoiled, well taken care of wife.
Amen. And I strive to be that every day.
That's what Mariah was, right? Correct.
I'm here and I shall remain. Don't take me out this bubble.
I aspire.
But when it comes to Toya and the Eugene traveling of it all, I feel like this was a unique situation. I feel like what we watched was Toya have a tantrum, in a sense of a word, right? Because the husband has been gone, and you're missing the quality time and the things that you normally do. I think what sometimes people don't understand is when you are in a healthy married relationship, right? And you are used to doing everything together, and y'all do the kids' morning routine together, and you take the kids to school together, and whatever that level of is, when it's gone, you miss it, right? Like, and so while there might be somebody out there like, oh, I do this with my kids and I pick them up and then I'm a single mom, that's your story. When that piece is missing, it's missed. And I say that as a wife of a civil servant. My husband is a firefighter. He goes to work for 24 hours at a time. Wow. That's his schedule, right? Yeah. And even though it is his schedule, it be sometimes where then the life happens in between it, and you're like, whoa, hello, do you see me? I'm right here. Like, I need a date. I need some time. And so when for them, you have to also remember as an audience that they're filming. That's not no quick party. You throw it together, your friends come over. No, this is cameras and face and lighting and all of that. So you're looking at like an 8-10 hour day. And now all I really want to do is get into bed and rub my feet together with my husband. But I got to do this. This is our job. And now you're making it difficult, albeit very much maybe a joke for you. I'm not in a joking mood. And what I can say is sometimes as a wife, my attitude realizes that I'm missing something and that I need a date night before my brain and my mouth does. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying when I say like a tantrum. It's like, as a married woman, I'd be the first person to tell you, it's almost like you watch it happening, like it's coming out of your body and you can't like reel it in. Like, oh no, like it's getting away from you, but it really is rooted in like, I just need my man to like hold my hand and like us just sit there in silence.
Well, and I think in the best relationships, both partners have those moments, and you want a partner who can maybe recognize that before you do. And I think it's very normalized for a wife, as I had a husband. He wasn't shit, but I did have a husband. And it's like, it's expected for you to like, know, oh, he moving, something's happening. You about to get sick. Take this medication. You know what I'm saying? Like to know this thing. Oh, you kind of acting up. Come on in this bedroom, nigga. Let me get you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's supposed to, supposed to feel it. And I think the other thing that resonates with me in this is there are some things that people agree to do and be only because they knew they would have help and that it would be a certain situation. Right. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna be a parent, but like even what you were saying is like your husband going for 24 hours. It's like, I'm sure that wasn't the case, maybe when y'all first had y'all babies or
Not
whatever,
at
right?
all.
And so it's like when I had these kids, or when I got this house, or when we started doing the show or whatever, this was my circumstance. I could handle it. This was my piece. This was your piece. And then things evolve and change. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect for maybe to be 75, 25 some days. And that kind of shifts things for me. And I think that's the importance of like negotiating and having conversations. But to go to your point, those things aren't always safe to discuss when your life is public and when you're on a show like this, especially the way these women on this show utilize any issues in your marriage to try to tear you down. So I think it uplifts people kind of being quiet and pushing through, because if that's the case, Portia would have realized a long time ago that she wanted to chew on some coochie.
Hello. What are we doing? And listen, that is a perfect, chewing on some coochie is a perfect segue to the Nicki Minaj of it all.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm following you, sis.
Stay focused. Stay focused.
All right. I'm with you. I'm tapped in. Yeah.
I say, duh, big red truck. Like, I'm not surprised that we are here with it all at all. I think that the barbs at large, the ones that present themselves on the internet, right? Like not the ones that might feel it in their personal life, but the barbs as we know them on Twitter, on Instagram, give the same energy as MAGA, right? That doesn't surprise me. Then you see people who kind of take it on, make it their personality, and it works for them because that following is very cult-like. So hearing all of the rumors, is Kenneth her handler, whatever, we don't know, right? Personally. But the writing was kind of on the wall. What shocked me was less about, I think being at Turning Point is a statement in and of itself, right? I didn't necessarily need you to double down on the statement. Like, we got the point. Like, being there in and of itself was like anti-Black, anti-LGBTQ plus community. I didn't need you to get on the mic and then double down with the anti-trans rhetoric, which of course is probably what they paid you for. That's what they wanted.
That's what she was there for. Like, she had to make the statement. She had to make the stern statement. Yeah,
she had to. But that's the piece that I do not get. When you sit down, is it really that bad at home that you sit down and you look at your analytics? For Nicki, this is a business, right?
Yeah.
So it all comes down to dollar and cents. When I say this, when I put out this type of music, this happens. Your core audience is Black, and then the LGBT community. Is it that bad? Like, what are we doing?
So this is when I hate my mind. I hate my brain being able to like see all sides, because sometimes I just want to sit in like feeling my feels. And having been able to process this for a while, one, I do think it's that deep, because I think we are in a time where people want folks to make clear statements where they stand. And I am not like, I have Nicki Minaj music in like my iTunes, but I can't say I was like, I'm a bar, but I don't know, what is it, bar to get? Like I like certain music. Like I'm a Brandy stan, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm not even
in the Beehive and the B Rockers for me.
Yeah, I'm not even in that type of battle piece. So I just want to say that. But I think that there are people who she's never made a clear declaration, and I think a lot of assumptions were made based on her fan base and the way that she authentically, I believe, has engaged in her fan base. And I think that relationship gave her the trust to know that going up there, they still were, those who really were locked in would be locked in. Because when I watched trans folks create whole dissertations as to how this was chess and not checkers, I was like, oh baby, this is a journey. And then the part when I was like, oh, I hate when my brain, one, these Black men have been supporting this man for a long time, right? Nobody boycotted Nelly and Ashanti show. People may have talked stuff, but I think it's got a season 2.
It did.
Right,
Nobody boycotted Snoop.
Snoop Dogg just did this whole halftime thing with a whitewash version of Beyonce, literally with the coat and the studs and everything. Right after he made those queer comments, and I said this directly to the people at GLAAD, and then they let him clean that and get over there and do a podcast with a white gay. Like, these men have Travis Garland. Like, it goes back to Chrisette Michele in regards to how Black women are navigating this Republican space and this MAGA space. I think you can think, and your values can be whatever you want them to be. That's a part of being a human and an American. Like everything else, Black women can never do anything halfway. And I think she had to get up there. She couldn't have just walked through and rapped. She was going to have to sit across from Erica Kirk because Candace is gone. They need a Black Patronus. And there is the cultural divide is being built on this idea of queerness and transness being the thing that deteriorates our society. And this woman is kind of the Ada Pearl of the gays. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
if you watch it. And so it was a perfect thing, because now you have this case study of all of these queer people coming out in solidarity of her statements. You have all of these queer people who are co-signing that, well, she's talking about trans children. That's not transphobic. And that's why I made a specific video saying trans children is a Trojan horse in regards to the statements, or that it's okay to just be a boy. Mama, you made millions selling pink wigs to boys and perfume and all these things.
Right. Like,
right. It's there. But ultimately, as I've thought about it, and I said this, I was like, her fan base is expansive. You got judges, you got doctors, there are barbs everywhere. And this is a point where they're gonna have to ask themselves. And I think we saw it with people who love R. Kelly. And I think a lot of people failed that litmus test. I think we've watched, and not that her I believe this alignment with Turning Point is egregious, but it's not to correlate them exactly to the behaviors of R. Kelly and things of that nature.
Of course,
right, because the people will be
the people. We are on the internet.
but we've had moments with our faves where people have had to choose: is the art, is our historic experience with them and their art more important than the version of us that we know them to be or that they're showing us at this time? And I think the interesting thing is Nicki Minaj is the first Black woman to survive it. No shade, and I mean this with love. I mean this with love. My God, on today, there was a random party that Chrisette Michele was singing at last week in Atlanta. Somebody posted a video. It was and the wind was sitting there quiet. Like, this is Grammy winning, can sing her face off. I'm talking about, this is a singing ass lady.
Yes, it is.
And it's like, oh, you're doing an anniversary party on the East Side.
Oh no, I was at a festival in a little old town. I'll tell you where off camera, but she was the headliner. I said.
And that hit immediate after that. They did one song at inauguration.
Done.
Right? This been through 3 presidents. Like, we got to think about this. 12 years. She's been canceled longer than her career was. And it's just like, oh, and so really, in regards to this, I also sit back and look at that and I'm just like, and I'll close with this. I think that's also a declaration of the importance of being in community with queer and trans people, because the reason I feel like she survived this is because these folks are so staunch in support of her. Now, my only hope is she's getting out what she wants. I hope she has a strategy. I hope it's a pardon. I don't know the Jay-Z stuff. Like, I'm not an Illuminati girl, but I've seen too much to not have sense.
Catch it.
Hello, my God, on today. So it's just like, I hope you got what you came there for, because it would be terrible for you to end up like Candace Owens. Candace just wanted to be there.
But I feel the opposite. I hope everything you touch crumbles. I hope it falls, because I just feel like you cannot make money off of me, and then take that money, take that status, and occupy places in people that are detrimental to me, right?
Okay.
Like it's
Okay.
it's one thing to have a difference of opinion on policy. It's another thing when we are differing on the policy that wants to eradicate me. That
Mhm.
want, like, you know what I mean? There
Mhm.
there's no, for me, and everybody's different, there's no space for nuance in that
Yeah.
space, because what we're talking about is the erasure of me and my
Yeah.
community. And I say that,
Yeah.
I say that my community as a Black person, but
Mhm.
I feel like it should feel the same for the LGBT plus community, because it's just like they want to roll back things. They don't want legal marriages. Like, you know what I mean?
But
It's an
sister,
erasure. And for you,
this culture of starving queer people of being loved and cared about, some of these queer people, the only person who ever told them they loved them was Nicki Minaj. Now her behavior,
you know
now her
what? Wait
behavior
a
makes it the
minute.
opposite. But we all know parents who sat there and
You're right. It's
right,
like a
like
Stockholm syndrome.
I'm just being real, and I'm not trying to disparage anybody. I'm just saying, like, sitting back and looking, it's like there are queer and trans folks who's like the only safe space they had was in her music. And it's just like, okay, she's doing this, but she don't really mean it to me, or she's doing this because of
Mm-hmm,
this,
mm-hmm.
right? And Auntie in the chat, she was like, survival is still yet to be seen, it's fresh. I agree, but usually the dismantlement would have been swift and
Immediate.
fierce. No shade. Swift and fierce, and the dissertations in support have been stern. And I also look at the Kanye of it. I think I think she did absolutely sell out that fan base, but also I believe there's a urgency there. And
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
also, and I don't like, I really, if y'all notice me, I don't talk about like mental health stuff and like trying to diagnose people because I think that's crossing the line. I
Yes,
do
I
think
don't
there's
have
something
any
sister
need
has
for that.
experienced, and it's the hard part of like wanting to hold her as a Black woman, but also being like, you know what I'm saying? And I
Mm-hmm.
really try to tread lightly because that trope of Black trans women hating biological Black, like
Don't
I
want no parts of it.
and so I try to hold both parts, but I'm just like, also in a world where Kanye is still like, it's like, okay, like I think there's something afoot here. Kenneth Petty, oh Petty, why are people surprised her being with a hood booger? What you like? You know what I'm saying? Like what you like is what you like. He just caught a case for being. A lot of the girls are with men who should be on them people's registry. You know what I'm saying? It's just
You
like
better speak louder.
it's
You better speak louder.
like there's a lot that confuses me about her, but those things don't. And I'm just like, oh, and I feel like she's comfortable with this kind of conclave that she's built with her fan base. And I
Mm-hmm.
think this truest story will be told if this album comes out in March, as she said it would. And
That's gonna be
that'll be the story.
that'll be the truth coming out in the wash. That'll be what it is, because if y'all
And that will align with Cardi being on tour, right? And so that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting to see if she puts out this album, how the album does, and how they counter that to what I think is going to be a really good tour for Cardi.
I think it's gonna be an amazing tour. I'm excited to see what she's got going on. I think Cardi, like, I like the way that she absorbs art, whether it's fashion, whether it's music. You can tell that she is like a study of the
Yes.
art that she consumes, and then that she, like, the lanes that she occupies. Like, she
Mhm.
doesn't want to do anything if she can't give it its full credence. And I appreciate that. And I think, to her own credit, she said it, sometimes it makes you a perfectionist and then it doesn't come out at all. So it's like a double-edged sword. But I cannot wait to see how she takes this and translates it into a tour, especially after the era of Beyonce changing
Yes.
what tour looks like
Yeah.
for between Act One and Act Two. I think, I mean, Beyonce always raises the bar, but this Renaissance and Cowboy Carter was like, oh, but y'all need to work. Y'all need to work. And then I like the way that she even came to Kelly at when she went to see the boys mine. And even the changes that she made, it was so small, so subtle, but they did such big things.
When did you see The Boys Mind? Where did you see it at?
New Jersey, the New Jersey show.
Okay, so I saw it in Nashville early on, and Money had and like that was when Money got sick, and so it was. But I had saw most of the show before she wasn't feeling well. They changed the core show of the Boys Mind tour as well. When I saw them in New Orleans, those visuals, they did It All Belongs to Me in Nashville on the risers. Like that whole thing changed. And I think that a lot of the critiques that I saw about the Boys Mind tour, as you were saying, like people's palette is set to a certain standard with Renaissance and Cowboy Carter. And if you want to say you're doing a tour, and you don't add intimate in front of it, right? If you're not a starter artist, the kids are like, oh, Miss Thing, where's the dancers? Where's the things? And so that's why when I saw Sean Bankhead really like the choreography for Cardi's Dubai performance, she's in Dubai, right? I was like, oh,
Saudi
she's
Arabia.
not playing. Saudi Arabia. I was like, oh, she's not playing.
No.
She's not playing.
You know, anytime Sean comes to the party, we not here to play.
And the girls are gonna have to dance.
But
everybody got to dance.
Sean is like he's a student of the Fatima era of like entertainment. Fatima had them girls dancing.
Yeah.
You had to get up on that video. Hello? You had to get up on there and you had to dance. You're on top of the vocals, Taquita. Yeah. Like this is too much. The Lorians, the Fatimas, that era of 90s music where we were all standing before DVR and rewinding. We were standing in front of the TV trying to get the dance to Are You That Somebody? Like, we need the choreography. We need another Up. And I like what he does. Him and Tiana Taylor, their stage blocking specifically. Yes. Because the truth of the matter is everybody can't be Beyonce. Beyonce can pour the money that she pours into her tours because of what she's already done and because of the revenue that it will bring in. She single-handedly helped the economy in Chicago. They were begging her to come back, right? Everybody can't do that, but you can also block these people on the stage and fill it out and make it look and appear fuller. People, we are not going to hold y'all for too long. I don't have much on the Will Smith lawsuit of it all.
Listen. This can be used universally for many conversations being had right now. When you do not establish who you are, you don't have to tell anybody anything. You ain't got to say nothing to nobody. You don't have to. And however, when you are not the steward of your story, people get to jump in your book with their pen and try to add chapters. And when it comes to queerness, when it comes to open relationships, when it comes to anything like that, you gotta figure it out, because this lawsuit to me feels like it would not have the same steam if Will was having conversations about his whole experience. I'll just say that. I'll just say that. I feel like when I look through it, I watch the videos from him. I'm not a lawyer, but like I'm just like, these are just like, you might have got, this is kind of stuff that DL and Closet admit. You know what I'm saying? Like this feels like the shenanigans of somebody who can't come out and ask you if you're interested, which wouldn't be an issue if, August wouldn't have been able to clear you like that if you would have cleared yourself like that. You know what I mean?
I'm going to come back to that. I want to answer this. Yes, all of the lives will always be saved. You will be part of the replay crew. So watch it and let us know what you think, right? This tug of war that the Smiths have with being authentic and letting you into our business and no, this is personal. We want to keep it private. I'm tired of it. Tired of it. And I think I always say my baseline for talking about people on the internet is what you give us. If it is on the internet, if it is on a reality show, if it's in People magazine, if it's on a radio podcast, I'm going to chit chat about it. I'm not going to go pay for the background check. I'm not looking into your financials. Don't care if your house is in foreclosure unless you talk about it on the show. You know what I mean? So that's normally where I stand with the celebrity, with the parasocial of it all, except for when it comes to them. They started telling us shit we didn't ask for. They said, "Oh, y'all think we the perfect couple? Let me tell you this." And then the floodgates just opened. Okay, you mean Will Smith is a grown man? August Alsina is a kid. Those is facts. That's not shade. What the fuck was going on there where the grown man wasn't giving it to you and you said I need the child like that?
I've seen that. I've seen that hammer. I can tell you. I can tell you. I can tell you on all fronts what was going on. It was a Ragnarok set. It was Thor's hammer. My God, on today.
Say anybody would try that one out.
Sisters, anybody they wanted their thing knocked out the frame, and that's anybody who was getting their frame knocked within that circumstance. And I don't think Jada was the only one, personally, with love. That being said,
it always gave that Will wasn't knocking it out the frame because we just kept talking about Tupac. I said we cannot be this happy at home.
No, I don't think it ever. I think Will's deepest desire was to be a good father and a family man in some semblance. And I think that their privilege and their financial access and Jada's kind of openness to the world allowed them to build something where it wasn't awkward until we said it was awkward. I think that's why they were so excited. Let me tell y'all, because they were like, "Oh, we done got this thing and y'all live for it, but let me tell y'all this, that, and the third." And people was like, "Oh, wait a minute, hold on now."
We said, "Well,"
and then they were like, "Oh, too much, la la la," right? And I feel like, what was that movie? Is it 6 Degrees of Separation with Will Smith? I believe that is the most honest version of who he is. Will Smith played a queer character long before any Black man in Hollywood, and I'm talking about just like, and I feel like that role is not discussed enough. I think that should have been his first Oscar nomination.
It really is not.
You got Stocker Channing, and they're like, "That's a movie.
That's a movie."
We'll like. I think that's a thing, and I think they need to be proud of. They have these beautiful children that they've raised. I think that more than not, they've done well, and I think all the personal stuff, either shut up, or give us the real table talk.
Tell me everything or tell me nothing.
Bitch, a nasty 4-part series.
And I'm gonna be tuned in like this here.
A nasty 4-part series where like the first day it's Will interviewing Jada. The second one is Jada interviewing Will. Then it's the kids interviewing each other. And then the last episode, no, wait a minute, it needs 5. I need Jada, Will, and the first baby mama.
Sure.
Because they was all doing vacations and stuff, right? I need them 3 kids talking about the difference between how they were raised and getting into that. And then the last episode, I want everybody there together. And I think who interviews them? Like in a perfect world, I think I want Wendy to interview everybody. But
I always want Wendy to do it.
Always Wendy, but not Gail. I need someone who can, Nina Parker. I need somebody who is gonna ask.
I need it to be. Listen, remember when Mama Tina had the little Facebook show?
Yes.
Bring that back. Because I feel after reading Matriarch, I feel like Mama Tina, Miss Celestine could give us that pull you into your bosom, lay right here, but she could also give you that. Now you know that was fucked up.
Yeah, like that. I think that will right set things to where it's like at this point, it's not gonna go away.
It's not.
It's not. You can jump off the side of mountains and film it for you know. It's a Joy. Come on, Joy Ed. Shout out to Simone Sanders from Omaha, Nebraska. Somebody.
I was getting ready to say, now I don't know about a Joy, but that Simone to get into it.
Because if you know how I know,
that Simone
to get into it. That's my sister, like, right? So it's just like that's all. That's this lawsuit, and it's not to dismiss any claims. It's just it's just an interesting lawsuit to read. And also, I think the legs exist because of the unspoken pieces of this man's life, which again, you don't owe anyone anything. But honesty dismantles all foolery like that. And again, I think that applies to even the Tyler conversation. Some of these things get legs because child Carlos.
He would turn it into a reality show. I need, were you silent or were you silenced?
Carlos produces too much. I don't want anyone who's ever been a producer. I want someone who loves not even just the mess, but wants to get to the root. Because Carlos gonna produce a moment.
It might have to. We might need her to waddle up in there.
I feel like Iyanla.
She gonna bang on that table when Will get to controlling that narrative and start putting on his.
Can we get co-hosts? If you put, I need Iyanla to have a temper. So Mama Tina and Iyanla will be nasty. Like
break them off into sessions, like how she does on Fix My Life.
Concentric circles, like, you know what I mean? Yes. Because I just feel like the truth is, I think there are a lot of relationships that mirror Will and Jada's. What you needed and what y'all built at 20 is different at 50. Y'all done raised these, what held y'all together were raising children. The children are raised. Mm-hmm. And now, who am I? What do I want to do? Y'all, we just don't have cameras following us. You know what I mean?
I was about to say, it's that searching for freedom, searching for who you are after these kids leave the nest, but then also that has to exist inside of a vacuum. Because while we were raising the kids, we were also raising these careers, right? We're not just these kids from Baltimore and from Philly who can now, okay, kids is raised, you go left, I go right, and then we'll go to public appearances together. It don't
and Jada, I don't think explored everything her career could have been.
No.
Like, absolutely. I feel like so many people talk, yes, they always make a wife like this, someone's wife, but it's like, this is Jada's. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, Pinkett Smith, but like let's not play with her. And it's just like the fact that I haven't seen Jada act in anything.
I think the last time we seen her act was Gotham. If I'm not mistaken, and she didn't even finish that one out.
She didn't finish that, but what was her show? Nurse.
No, not Hawthorne. Hawthorne. No, Hawthorne.
It was Hawthorne.
Nurse Jackie is the white lady.
They talked about bringing that back. I was like, that was a show.
That was a show.
Like when Star in it, they were talking about bringing that back. It's like, I also am just like, I just want Black people to realize that we're going to be ever evolving people, and it's not going to be perfect. But hiding the evolution continues to perpetuate this idea that we don't live like long and expansive lives. And also, I hope people realize that money doesn't give you. Some people are extremely rich and extremely oppressed. Like, these people are held hostage, right? And it's just like, baby, come up out of that.
That's it. Whenever I think about it, I think about that Usher song when he says, sometimes I have to go when I don't feel like going, sit back and ride when I feel like driving. And it's that concept of, it's so simple, just driving a car. Michelle Obama, on her podcast with her brother, she was talking about how she's allowed, because of the Secret Service, to drive now, but she's only allowed to drive on Martha's Vineyard. And she can put the windows down. That was a big thing. She was like, the last time that I rode in a car and put the windows down, and I just like hearing that, because why they can't do it, right? Like, nobody's stupid. But then when you hear somebody say it, like, I was just so happy to drive my own car and ride with the windows down. And that's still happening in the Tahoe with one Secret Service in front of her, one behind her. So whoever asked her, they were like, well, did that shock your kids? And she was like, we used to be normal people. But then also looking back, they were like 7. Yeah. The last time they rode in a car and their mom drove and they could just put the radio on and sing and be girls in the car. Like, it all comes with a price. I want to close this out. Anybody who came for the Mary Cosby of it all, Listen, I finished all 3 episodes. I don't know what y'all want from me. There was no new information in that documentary. That documentary felt like a hit piece. Somebody has a personal vendetta against her. I do think it's weird that she married her step grandfather, somebody who has been in her life since she was 3 years old. That is so weird. That is so weird. That is so weird. She's never going to beat the allegations of divorcing her husband on September 18th and then marrying Big Robert, I think, on September 27th. Or this, September 8th, she divorced, and September 27th, she was married again. She'll never beat those
Jesus.
allegations. The numbers do not lie. It is weird. It is weird. It is weird. What I will say, though, in a little bit of a defense, is in the documentary, and Mary has talked about this on Salt Lake City, her grandmother, and I think that should be the documentary, her grandmother had a very, very prolific brain. Blessed, in tune with the Lord, whatever you want to call it. That lady walked with her kids, between a combination of walking, hitchhiking, and taking a bus from Indianapolis to Salt Lake City, Utah. Number one. She got there, she started the church, she saw the lack of resources inside of the community for Black people because Salt Lake City, Utah is mostly a white town. She started the first Black hair salon there. She started Black-owned soul food restaurants so people get food that they. So she had all of these things. These were businesses that were then passed down eventually to Mary, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is Robert, somebody who started off as just a member of the church and then marrying into a business that was already established, by the sound of who Mary's mother was, Robert had no knowledge or anything on how to run that business. He didn't have to. So Robert was always going to be looking for a wife immediately after Rosemary's passing, because to my knowledge, it didn't seem like he knew how to do all of that or even wanted to do all of that. So it just happened to be Mary. I think it could have been any of Mary's other siblings. Mary just seemed to be with the shit. Mary was cuter. Like, I don't know
Right.
what else y'all want. I also don't think that reality TV cameras belong in churches. My church, a mega church, Jamal's church, the Mormon church, I think the Catholic church, I think the things that happen there, so albeit while I have issues with some of them, they are very cultural in that space, right? For the most part, these places aren't cults. Everybody's there of their own free will, of their own volition. To have a documentary where you mostly have white people dissecting, laying at the altar and calling that cultish, that's problematic. it just is, and not problematic in an cancel them type of way, but problematic in that you're not solving the issue. Even if that was a cult, you're not speaking on what's happening there correctly simply because you can't. And if
Right.
we're going to have that conversation, we need to have it with people who can have that conversation, who understand the nuance. And you can avoid all of that by getting the reality TV cameras out of the church. Because at what point, what real service is it servicing anybody?
No, I think that's real. And I'm not very like versed in Mary's story, but as I hear like people talk about it, it very much gives old school, the king and queen type, we're setting up the serpent queen type set where it's like, girl, we're gonna keep this money here and things of that nature. And I feel like if it was framed more like a business move than kind of it is, maybe people would understand. And in regards to the cameras and things in church, it is hard to be in front of a camera and be authentic. The church or your space of faith should be where you could be the most authentic version of yourself, right? So I think that's where the cognitive dissonance takes place. Even post-pandemic, like I love a bedside Baptist service. I love being able to but also just even in that, I think there's some church where it's like, oh girl, you're shouting a little bit much because this is streaming all over face. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, be performative. And so yeah, I but also goes back to there would be no documentary making if she wouldn't have went on Salt Lake City. Choices beget choices, right? And so
That's number one.
you know what I mean? So that's my thought. But yeah, it's a little hokey. It's a little hokey. It's a little hokey, but she's a little hokey. She's
It
a
all
little
fits.
different. So she gives me if Latoya Jackson had the room to thrive, that's who Mary Crosby
That's
is.
exactly who Mary would be, except she would be doing it for Jehovah.
In another timeline, Mary Crosby is the in Earth 2, I'm a nerd. You know what I'm saying? Like in the multiverse, Mary Crosby is the double ganger of Latoya Jackson.
No argument there. Tell the people what they can expect from you in 2026. Close them out with a word of
Uh,
inspiration. Do your thing, is what I'm
we
saying.
podcast is coming. I had did an episode and I sent it to like my lawyers to kind of check out, and they were like, "You might want to, you might want to hold this back for a while." And I was like, "Okay, I'll sit on it because I want to start off in a specific way." So the People's War with Dominique, the podcast is coming. Me and Monroe are doing a podcast together, like a space together called, The Softest Revolution. I think.
I love Monroe
Uh,
down.
that's my sister. I love her to death.
I heard she walks in the women's room any time.
Listen, she'll pop out, honey. And just like talking about just the journeys and the things. We finishing this album. Hold on, y'all. That I'm in the hotel. No, thank you. Okay. Child. I respect people gotta do their job. But the girls be knocking like they're the police. Praise God. And so doing that, really just being more present and available to community. I think what excites me about my TikTok space is that I can talk about all the things, but a lot of the healing and the safe space work I feel like is really important to think about. And so bringing that more to my content in a thoughtful way. And Madison is we're producing the show about the Starter House, the T.S. Madison Starter House experience. So we filmed the pilot and we're going back to filming. So that's going to be exciting. And then I'm just open. I think that what I've loved so far about my career is I've let myself be open to what is brought in front of me, and then I've done my best at what is set in front of me. And I think strategy and intention is important. But what this last year has taught me is, child, be open to anything.
Yes.
And then work your set once you get in there. And I want to do more media things. I think that being in this space that we are in, I don't get into the TikTok videos of it's too many creators, la 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 la. Not everyone has the same skill, and that's okay. And yes, I'm trans, but I have skills. And so for this year, it's like I want to be in spaces to show that I will happen to be a trans person who is incredible at doing this.
Yes.
In a time where people, okay, fine, y'all want to do certain stuff, okay, but let me just show you, like, I'm a bad bitch. No matter what. And I want to be in spaces, whether it's on the stage, whether it's on the red carpet, whether we're all out there at the Met Gala, on, what I'm saying? Like, whatever it is, I want more. That's also why I said yes to this, because I feel like just engaging with folks in our space is powerful and important. So that's the word. Try everything.
Try everything.
Because the world is going to try you, honey. Life is going to try you, bitch. So try it. And y'all better taste the rainbow, honey, and stop playing.
Try Jesus. Don't try me. What's Toby say? Because I throw hands. I have not worked on it that much in 2026. We are getting it. We're at the heel part. I am very much my name is not Monica. If I was walking down the street and somebody said, "Fuck you, Monica," I wouldn't get mad because my name is not Monica, right? So I try to resonate in the space of, if you were talking at me about things that don't reflect who I am or the experience that we shared, you shouldn't receive my anger, my emotion, my all of that, because it's currency. Also, every day I don't put that. Some days I don't remember to put the cloak on. You know what I'm saying? You need not be caught outside on a day when I don't have on that cloak. Is what I'm trying to say.
So keep a name on, keep it on a playground, Lenard. Like, that's very that.
That's it. That is it. To all of you watching currently, to all of you who will be part of the replay crew, again, you could be anywhere on the internet, but you was here kikiing with us. I hope you got something, a little bit of mess, a little bit of fulfillment for your soul. I will be back next Monday at 10 a.m. Okay, the lineups are lining up. We are just waiting for people to send in their dates. Okay. The emails have been sent to Miss Jasmine Brand, to Miss Michelle Williams, to Miss Tamar Braxton. The yeses have come in. We are just waiting on the dates. Okay. If there is somebody or something you want to talk about, the DMs are always open. Until then, keep it cute, keep it on mute.